here. So the situation reads, this is a couple of weeks ago, so I don't know if this is still the case, but the average cost of a gallon of gas in Hawaii is $5.73. Okay? So just as a self-reflective thought, if you could just take that pen and just write a thought that pops into your head. And you hear the average cost of gas for a gallon in Hawaii is $5.73. Okay? Just anything that pops into your head. Obviously, these are your own thoughts, so there's no right or wrong answer. And then if you could also then write your subsequent feeling. Right? So you want to sort of differentiate a thought, your internal process monologue pops into your head, and your feeling. Okay, and then if you could go on to the next slide. Then here's another situation. Hawaii was the last state in the Union, so out of all 50 states, to lift indoor mask mandates. So you can also put a thought in there with that particular situation, then put a feeling in there as well. And while you guys are doing that, sincerest apologies to our very young children, including my own. This is more of a adolescent and upward kind of talk today, so just kids I get there. Okay, so just take 30 seconds or something to fill that out. Okay? So the idea here is that we have two different situations. It could be anything. I just kind of chose this out of thin air. And we're going to put a thought and a feeling associated with that. So you don't have to do anything with that for now. You just put it on the side. Okay, you're not going to turn it in. Just a self-reflection exercise. We're going to turn back to this in a couple of minutes. Okay, the next slide, please. Okay, so the first part, I'm trying to make it quick, but I'm just going to start off a little bit about kind of my work life a little bit, right? So, as shared, thank you for the introduction. I'm a professor of psychology at the University of Hawaii. And next slide. One of the parts of my work, what I do at work, is I train child and adolescent therapists. So I train therapists who work with kids. I train them on a specific kind of therapy called cognitive behavior therapy, or CBT. So I train them on a very specific kind of therapy called CBT. And the interesting thing about CBT is that over the last maybe 30, 35 years, it's accumulated a massive amount of research support, and it's been shown to be highly, highly effective treatment approach for a wide array of different kinds of problems that kids might have. For anxiety problems, depressions, sleep trauma, anger problems, eating disorders, mania, suicidality, substance abuse. CBT has been shown to be really, really effective. So I'm pretty happy that I get to train people on CBT. We even have the pleasure of co-editing a book on this topic. So it's just one of my parts of my job. Like, what exactly is CBT? Okay, the big picture is that, you can see this arrow over here, situations influence our thoughts and our behaviors, which then affect our feelings. Okay? So the idea is that there is no direct path from a particular situation to your feelings. Situations affect your thoughts and behaviors, and your thoughts and behaviors then affect the emotional state, whether that be happiness, anger, sadness, distress, whatever. And so we'll go over a couple of examples. Okay, so something that happens with teenagers that we work with at our center, there's an example situation. Say, well, somebody going out for the basketball team, going out for tryouts for the basketball team, maybe they weren't selected, they were cut. The thought a child might have is, I'm a loser, I cannot do anything right. Thought, behavior, sit on the couch, watching TV, no exercise, just being lethargic, and doing yes. That, thinking I'm a loser, sitting on the couch all day. The feeling, the emotional, you'd be in a state of sadness, frustration, and anger. So, behavior and thoughts affect your feelings. Next slide, please. In the exact same situation is the same. After a week of trials for the basketball team, I was not selected. An alternative thought a teenager might have is, well, Michael Jordan also did not initially make his basketball team. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team, I think in the ninth grade, and he used it as a motivation to get even better. If I want something, I must work hard at it, and I will continue to do my best. Behavior might be exercise, times with friends, practicing, getting to the gym, doing anything fun. Right? So we have the exact point of these juxtaposed slides back to back is you can have an identical situation, and depending on how you respond to behavior and thoughts, it will have a drastic effect on your emotional feelings. Next slide, please. Okay, so back to the audience activity. Okay, so I'd like for you to reflect on the relationship between your thought column and your feeling column. And then now, you don't have to write it down just as an exercise. Try to generate an alternative thought and imagine how that same situation could affect your thought. If you have a different thought and affect your feelings. Right? So as an example, just as a brainstorm, feelings about Hawaii being the last day in the union to lift indoor mask mandates could be, some people could be frustrated because they think, why is Hawaii taking so long? The thought is, why is Hawaii taking so long? Another thought could be, Hawaii disproportionately has elderly populations, so that's a good thing. And we rely on tourism, so that's a good thing. It's a good thing for that. It makes sense. So you could feel grateful and happy, or angry and frustrated from the exact same situation. Okay? So just the main idea here is that in the CBT tradition, and I'm going to turn it to Buddhism in a little bit, hanging on. In the CBT tradition, situations do not fully dictate our thoughts and behaviors, and therefore situations do not dictate our feelings. Okay? So that's why in our line of work, we never say something like, how did that make you feel? How did that make you feel when Brad was up there talking in his mumbo jumbo? Like, I'm looking over here, people could have a wide variety of thoughts, and everybody will have different feelings. In this way, the main takeaway point in the CBT tradition, situations do not dictate your feelings. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay. So why do we do this song and dance and trying to help kids change their thoughts and behaviors? Because the ultimate goal of CBT is to reduce human suffering. We believe we can try to reduce human suffering, sadness, stress, depression, anxiety, trauma, substance abuse through changing thoughts and behaviors. Next slide. Okay. Now, when you think about a Western tradition, CBT, stressing the importance of changing thoughts and behaviors to reduce human suffering, that sounds very similar to another very cherished and long standing tradition. Right? So I find it interesting, for example, that the Eightfold Path, right down the middle, 4 spokes of the wheel are centered on thoughts, right intention, duty, mindfulness, concentration, and the other 4 spokes focus on behaviors, effort, livelihood, action, and speech. Okay? So it's what a weird coincidence that time-honored, ancient, beautiful, wonderful tradition, the Eightfold Path, is also focusing on right thoughts and right actions. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so the summary thus far: situations influence our thoughts and behaviors, and then our thoughts and behaviors influence our feelings. There's no direct act here. Next slide, please. Okay, so, in addition to Buddhism, I think through the Eightfold Path and many other ways, I was talking to Piper about this before on some other call we were on, and it seems that a lot of other traditions, it seems maybe guaranteed this is a universal, sort of like long-lasting idea or concept, right? So here we have a Roman emperor and philosopher, Marcus Aurelius. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Okay, so he's saying that thousands and thousands of years ago. Okay. Also, Piper showed me this quote from Buddhist monk, I don't know how to say, Shima Shobran. Whether we regard a situation as heaven or hell depends on our perception. Okay? So it's really interesting. Ancient Buddhist traditions, Buddhistic traditions, Western psychology has shown through decades and decades of research, all pointing to the idea that our thoughts and behaviors affect our feelings. Okay? So I'm going to eventually try to get back to why I bring my children to church. Okay, so next slide, please. Okay, almost there. Hang on. Okay. So where do our thoughts and behaviors come from? Right? So why is it that in the exact same situation, one person might think, Hawaii is the last, same situation, Hawaii is the last day of the union to lift mask mandates. Why is it that one person thinks we're the most backward state and nothing ever gets done in Hawaii? Look at the rail and everything is terrible here and go to Las Vegas. Why does one person think that? And why does another person think it is so great because we are disproportionately elderly population and it's great, we should be the last? Why is it that people think differently? Now, it's a $1 million question, but the 1 minute summary is, next slide please. Thoughts and behaviors from research shows in psychology from what we call our core belief systems. And so our core belief system is our most deeply held assumptions about how we view the world, ourselves, and others. It's our ideas and philosophies about how the world works. Right? So one of my core belief systems is this idea of a meritocracy. If you work really hard, you get good outcomes. Right? Like equality, okay? Those kinds of things. Okay? Core belief systems usually develop in childhood. Next slide, please. Okay? So what were the foundational pillars or the tenets of my core belief system growing up in Hilo, Homaji, and Jikoen Buddhist? Okay? So the foundational pillars in the architecture, the structure of my mind are gratitude, alipantai, pagkasamade, interdependence, compassion, impermanence, attachment causes suffering, and yumano. It's just a couple of examples. So, next slide, please. Okay, so why do I bring my children to church? Next slide. Okay. So I bring my children to church because as they grow up, the mapping or the architecture of their brain of how they're going to view the world is being formed. Formed from grade school all the way up to high school or early adulthood. The foundational blocks of how they view everything in the world is being set as we speak. And I would like, with my deepest, sincerest desire, that their thought patterns and their behavior patterns incorporate Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I would love for them, deep hope as a father, that when they have situations in their lives as adults related to family, work, relationships, conflict, good and bad, that they see the world through a Buddhistic lens. That their gut and their instincts and their reflexive thinking and behavior patterns align with the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Because that will then have profound effects on their feelings. Given any situation, will they feel gratitude and appreciation? Will they feel entitlement? Which will then affect sadness, anger, love, peace, etc., etc. Okay. So, next slide. I think this is the last one. Okay, so as my closing personal activity, the situation was being invited to and subsequently sharing about why I bring my children to church on Father's Day. And my thought is, the experience of being a father is made possible only through the interdependent relationships with mother and children. Thus, to me, there's this weird kind of thing I think about Father's Day, that Father's Day is an opportunity to reflect on the countless conditions that make it possible for me to be a father. Like, I could not be a father if it were not for my parents, my mother and father making me, not for my wife, my children, not for the Isya and Isya that came before me. And I am profoundly grateful to my family, my wife, children, mother and father, but give me the opportunity to be a father. So on Father's Day, I think there are many people who want to be fathers that do not have the opportunity to be a father. So Father's Day is a moment of gratitude and appreciation. And the real people who should be celebrated on Father's Day are the people that make it possible for me to be a father. So thank you to my parents and my wife and my family.